How's it going, guys? Are you ready for some amazing Pokemon battling action? Because today we have some superb battles lined up that you're sure to enjoy. Get ready to witness two of some of the most exciting battles ever in the underused tier and see Arcanine-Hisui demonstrate why you do not want to be hit by one of its attacks. Trainers, if you enjoy the adrenaline fuel battles and want more heart-pounding action, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe to join us on our journey to 20k subscribers. Your support means the world to me, so let's keep the excitement going. Anyway, with all that being said, let's jump straight into the first battle. And the first battle is here. We're going against Max1216 from the Discord server in the underused tier. Looking at their team, they got a Staraptor, a Hydrapple, Sylveon, Excadrill, Zarude, and an Infernape. Pretty cool stuff. I think we can handle it, maybe. The Excadrill, we need to weaken that first, and the Hydrapple needs to be weakened a little bit too. But it looks like expanding Force Iron Crown is going to do pretty well here. Arcanine also does really well here against their entire team. So what I might do is, they probably lead off with a Staraptor, right? So I think I'm going to go with the Save Mandibuzz lead, because it works out well for the whole squad, really, for Mandibuzz to lead. So I'm going to do that. We can just U-turn on whatever they bring in, or we can go for a knockoff, you know, all that sort of stuff. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Max. So they lead off with Staraptor as we led off with our Mandibuzz. Our Mandibuzz is physically defensive, which means I can safely go for a knockoff here, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. Getting rid of something item. They may go for a U-turn and they might go straight into Sylveon, but if we can knock off that Sylveon's throat spray or leftovers or whatever, it's still good. So they do go for a U-turn, which is interestingly not doing too much damage to us. So that tells me they may be Choice Scarfed as opposed to Choice Banded. But it's still unclear on that one. Still unclear. And they decide to U-turn into their Excadrill, which is an interesting one. So we're going to take away that thing's item, whatever it has. We go for a knockoff. Does about a third of its HP. And then we get rid of that Focus Sash, which is good to know. So, knowing this thing's likely the only thing that can really hit us with is Rock Slide, I think. I'm just going to go for a U-turn. There's no real reason not to, as they go for a Stealth Rock. It's good play, because now I've U-turned out of my Defogger, which means I have to somehow bring my Mandibuzz in later to defog if I need to. And I also need to be careful. The double-edged sword with this team is that I've got a Defogger, but I've also got a Psychic Terrain user. So it's pretty interesting the way it's done. So I'm going to go into Virizion. Real Leaves. Don't know why I called it that, but it's here anyway. Point Stones do dig in, but we do outspeed the Excadrill. We know that for a fact. And Leftovers are going to help us recover pretty much all of that Stealth Rock damage. In fact, no, all of it. Exactly all of it. So we can probably expect a Hydrapple or a Sylveon switch or even a Staraptor coming back in. So I'm going to go for... They know we can go for a close combat. I think they have to go into Infernape or Sylveon. So I'm going to go for the safe Leaf Blade option. Just because I feel like they go Sylveon. It's hard to choose which one they're going to go into. They do go into Sylveon, so we're going to get a bit more damage off on the Sylveon. It's nice and shiny as well, gotta love it. And we go for that Leaf Blade real quick, and it does about nearly half. We get a crit as well, which is great. And the crit damage tells me that that is a physically defensive Sylveon, probably with Calm Mind. So knowing that it might have Calm Mind, I'm tempted to switch out. I'm leaning towards the Cobalion, but I don't want to use that booster energy just yet. So, what's my next option? I'd say Goodra. I know Goodra is Assault Vested, but this Sylveon doesn't seem to be invested in special attack, so I know Hyper Voice isn't going to do too much damage to us, even if they don't even go for it. They may go for a Calm Mind here, but we have Terra Poison Sludge Bomb on this thing, which we can easily go for. So let's bring Goodra in, nice and shiny as well, gotta love it. Point Stones do dig in, which is a shame, and they do go straight for a Hyper Voice, which is going to do a bit of damage, but not too much. But if there's anything this Goodra's doing this game, it's this. To be honest with you, it's definitely this. So knowing that, let's go for a Sludge Bomb, or should we go for a Fire Blast? I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb because they may stay in and go for a Calm Mind, thinking they can set up on us. But they do withdraw their Sylveon, probably going into the Excadrill if I had to guess. Yeah, the Excadrill comes in. So we could have made the prediction and gone for a Fire Blast there, but it didn't work out quite like that, as Sludge Bomb is obviously going to bounce right off that Excadrill. However, Excadrill itself, the Stealth Rock setter, gives us a perfect switch into Mandibuzz, and we can then go for the Defog, get rid of them Stealth Rocks, and go from there. So we'll withdraw Slime Ball. We can save that for later against maybe, I don't know, the Hydrapple, if the Hydrapple doesn't go for a Fickle Beam. But they go for an Iron Head. It's going to sting a little bit, but not too much. And then we just go for a Defog real quick. That's all we need to do. Go for a Defog. So Iron Head comes through again. It's gonna batter us a bit. It doesn't get the flinch, which is great, as we get a Defog off, which is fantastic. No more Stealth Rocks for the Excadrill. So, knowing they may go for another Stealth Rocks here, or they may just go straight for another Iron Head to try and get damage off, I'm going to go for a Roost. They do go for the Iron Head for the damage, and they do flinch us. Ah, that's a real shame. Okay, so knowing they're probably going to go, they're probably going to take us out of Iron Head here. I'd say we could go Goodra in. No, don't want to waste my booster energy. I'm going to go for a Roost again, just in case they Stealth Rocks, but they don't. They go for an Iron Head, and as long as those Stealth Rocks are off the field, I'm happy. I'm happy to declare that I'm not bothered about it. So let's go into Virizion once again. And the great thing about Virizion against their team is that we can go for a Leaf Blade here, and they probably still bring the Sylveon in, right? Or they bring in the Staraptor. But I think there's a good chance they bring Sylveon in once again. So I'm going to go for a Swords Dance here. Swords Dance comes through. It looks like they've stayed in, which is interesting. Probably to get those Stealth Rocks up one last time. As they do go for the Stealth Rocks. Whether it's worth it or not, because now we got a free Swords Dance, I don't know. Our safest play to go for here is Close Combat, because it hits that Staraptor if they decide to bring that in. Because if they're expecting a Leaf Blade now on the Sylveon, knowing Sylveon may get KO'd by the Swords Dance boosted Leaf Blade, they may go into the Staraptor instead, or the Hydrapple. So I'm going to go for a Close Combat here. They do stay in. They realize, you know what, the only thing we can do here is stay in. Excadrill got the Stealth Rocks up, and that's what's important. So Excadrill goes down. And Virizion is basically a sitting duck for that Staraptor, I'm afraid. Infernape comes in. Now, Infernape does outspeed us, I believe, but I'm going to have to double check that. We're actually at a speed tie, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do something else. I'm going to make that speed tie null and void. I'm going to go into Goodra to take this physical hit that they're going to throw at us. Because we are going to go down to a Close Combat, no doubt, or a Flare Blitz. This is actually going to lower their speed because we have Gooey on this Goodra. We have Gooey on the Goodra, so Stealth Rocks are going to dig in, and then they go straight for a Fire Blast. Actually, tables have not turned. That is interesting. So, knowing that they are now a special Infernape, well, they might be mixed. Let's go for the Sludge Bomb anyway, just in case they are mixed and they can't take us out of an Aura Sphere or whatever they're going to go for. They go for an Aura Sphere. Okay, can we take that? We do! And we're able to go straight for a Sludge Bomb. And the reason I went for a Sludge Bomb over a Draco here is purely because I was expecting this Sylveon to come in, potentially. And also because I didn't want to miss the Draco. I want to get damage off on this Infernape, but obviously we're not going to get much damage off. We could Terra Poison, and I bet we could take an Aura Sphere if we were Terra Poison based on that Fire Blast damage. But I don't want to do it. I'm just going to let it take us out. So Aura Sphere comes through. Down goes the Goodra. So that I should have gone for a Draco there, really. I don't know what I was thinking with the Sludge Bomb. But either way, they go down because Poison and Life Orb. So we got the Infernape out of the way. So it's not a big deal at the end of the day, is it? It's not a big deal we didn't go for a Draco. Granted, we could have had the Goodra around for a bit longer. Maybe have it being taken out by a Staraptor to lower its speed or something like that. But no, this is not how things are getting played out. So we still have the Arcanine in the back, which is extremely good for us. I'm going to go into Indeedee because there's now no way to get rid of the Psychic Terrain. I may as well go into it. They go into Zarude. Zarude. Oh, it's got that pink cape thing. That's cool. That's an event Pokemon, I think. That's awesome. Anyway, Indeedee comes in. We're going to get that Psychic Terrain up, which stops any physical attacks. Priority attacks. Not that their team really has any, unless they quick attack Sylveon with Pixelate. Don't think they will be, though. They more than likely go for a knockoff here. So, unfortunately, Indeedee, I'm going to have to let you go down. I am going to go for a Dazzling Gleam just to see if we outspeed, but we obviously don't. Knockoff goes through. You never know. They might have been adamant or something. I don't know. Probably not, but you know, it's always good to check. So they knock off our Terrain Extender. Now, our best bet really here is going to be Virizion. So I'm going to go into Virizion. Oh, is it Virizion or Virizion? I don't know. I can never pronounce anything like that. So stones are going to dig in, but this thing probably has U-turn or it's choiced. One of the two. So I am leaning towards another Swords Dance or a Close Combat. I think Close Combat is the best way to go around this. So Close Combat comes through. We actually outspeed, which is interesting. I didn't think we did. Zarude isn't going to go down because it's only leftovers boosted. No, well, not even boosted. It's just leftovers on my Virizion, no booster out. So Power Whip comes through. That's going to sting quite a bit. Obviously, they don't want to go for a knockoff here because if they went for a knockoff, they give me that justified boost. Now, however, I can safely go for a Leaf Blade again if I really want to, which I'm tempted to do. Now, I'm going to go for a Close Combat. I'm going to keep it safe, go for a Close Combat. There we go. Close Combat comes through. Zarude goes down. So it's good to know we outsped. For some reason, I thought Zarude was base 109, and I know Virizion is base 108. So for some reason, I thought Zarude outsped there, but I guess not. And if they bring the Staraptor in here, then they are probably Choice Scarfed. But I'm looking at my squad, and I'm thinking Virizion is not the way we win this game. The way we win this game is with Iron Crown. So Staraptor comes through. The fact they've brought it in tells me they are very likely to be choiced, scarfed, not banded. But I'm going to go for a Close Combat anyway, just in case. They do go for a U-turn, which does KO us. They are outspeeding us, so they are choice scarfed as well, which is good to know. I have booster energy speed on my Iron Crown. Okay, so that's the thing. In comes Sylveon, the Great Friend. So this thing is physically defensive, as we know. I'm assuming. They're going to get their leftovers recovery, which is always nice for them. And I'm going to go into Iron Crown. And the point of this Iron Crown is that we need to get as much damage off as possible on their entire team so that Arcanine can come in and finish things off. But in order to do that, we need that Staraptor gone for a start. If Staraptor goes, Flare Blitz from Arcanine does so much damage to their entire team. So I'm going to go for the Expanding Force now on the Sylveon. Maybe I should have Terra'd there, but I'm not really worried about this Sylveon too much. So we are going to... They're going to Terra. Okay, they're going to Terra. Oh, please don't tell me they're Terra Dark randomly. Please don't tell me they're Terra Dark. The Terra Steel. Okay, so Terra Steel's not too bad. We can handle Terra Steel. So it's a good job I didn't waste my Terra here because we may have to rely on the Arcanine sooner rather than later. So we go for an Expanding Force. Still does a solid amount of damage to the Sylveon, to be fair, as they go for a Calm Mind. So that is really unfortunate. So what we're going to have to do here is, unfortunately, we're going to have to lose the booster energy on the Iron Crown, which doesn't matter too much because the Staraptor naturally outspeeds and has Choice Scarf. So it still outspeeds the Iron Crown even now. What we can do, however, is if they're going to go for a Calm Mind, I'm going to go for a Volt Switch right now. And I'm going to go straight back out into Arcanine. So Volt Switch comes through. Does no damage, obviously, thanks to the Calm Mind. And now that there is Steel type, Arcanine is just like, wow, this is such a great opportunity for me. So I'm going to bring Arcanine in, Kamei you real quick, and we guarantee a KO on something, because if Hydrapple switches it, well, Staraptor cannot switch in. That's for certain. Staraptor can't switch in. Hydrapple can't switch in. That is also for certain, because Hydrapple will get two-shotted by a Flare Blitz from this thing. And Sylveon is going to go down to a Flare Blitz right now. So I'm going to go for the Sylveon Flare Blitz. There we go. We are Rockhead, so we're not going to take any recoil from this thing. Unless the Rocky Helmet, which they're obviously not because they've got leftovers. Duh. Right. Sylveon goes down. There's one threat out of the way. Unfortunately, there is another threat on the field in a minute, and that's going to be Staraptor, which is going to be able to take us out no problem. We can't go for an Extreme Speed because we're locked into Choice Band, and the Psychic Terrain is up. We're going to have to just go for a Flare Blitz and hope this Close Combat is... Or hope they go for a U-turn expecting an Iron Crown switching. I don't know. They go for the Close Combat, obviously. It's going to do the most amount of damage to my Arcanine. And it will also probably two-shot the Iron Crown. So, Psychic Terrain is still up. So, we are not too bad off. In the ideal world... There's the weirdness gone. Ha. In the ideal world, we can take everything on with Iron Crown. That's the ideal world. Tachyon Cutter is a 100 base attack, while spread across 250 base power hits. So I am going to go for the Tachyon Cutter right now. Just because they have withdrawn the Staraptor, we should be able to two-shot the Hydrapple, no problem. Their best move to hit me with against my Iron Crown anyway is probably... That did nothing. That did absolutely zero damage. That did zero damage. That is not good. So they probably go for an Earth Power here, right? So we should Terra Psychic. I think Terra Psychic Expanding Force does more damage than Tachyon Cutter. Well, then we lose our Steel type, but they probably go for an Earth Power, right? Let's go for a Terra Psychic Expanding Force. This is the best I can do. And all we have to do is hope that after Earth Power from this thing, hope we can two-shot it with Expanding Force for a start. And then after that, hope that we can live a U-turn from a Choice Scarfed Staraptor. That's all we can really hope for. Iron Crown has got some decent bulk. So let's see how much this Expanding Force does with the Terra. Hopefully it does more than the Tachyon Cutter does. It does, it does a bit more damage, which is great. So they go for the Earth Power. Obviously, we're no longer weak to that. And then we have to go for another Expanding Force to try and get the KO here. Hopefully we get the KO. But the problem we've got now is that they're a reckless Staraptor. And the Hydropple lives with a sliver of HP. They go for a Fickle Beam. That's going to nearly take us out. So yeah, we've lost, unfortunately, to the Staraptor. But it's fine. Let's go for an Expanding Force once again. If I didn't Terra Psychic, we wouldn't have even been in this opportunity where we get taken, because the Earth Power would have taken us out anyway. So, okay. Staraptor comes in next, right? Is there any way we can win this? I don't think there is. So I'm going to say GG Max. That was a pretty fun one. That was a really awesome UU game, actually. I enjoyed that one. I haven't played UU in a while. So I was kind of hoping that I could get a W for my first one back. But GG Max, that was a really good one. A really, really solid match. And the second battle of today is here. We're going against Oscar from the Discord server in the UU tier. Looking at their team, they've got the Hisui and Arcanine, the Meloetta, Indeedee, Male, Skeledirge, Tinkaton, and the Greninja. So luckily for us, I mean, I guess the Meloetta probably has Expanding Force, but it's not very fast. So luckily for us, we've got two Pokemon on the field that could potentially set the Psychic Terrain for Iron Crown, which is great. So if we get Iron Crown popping off, that'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm looking at the team and I'm thinking Mandibuzz looks like a solid lead. They could lead with Hisui and Arcanine, because Hisui and Arcanine actually does a lot of damage to our entire team. Head Smash does so much damage to our entire team. I may have to Terra with the Mandibuzz just to get the knockoff off, just to get rid of that Choice Band if they've got Choice Band. So I think I'll lead offensively and go with the Iron Leaves lead, because if they lead Arcanine, I want to be able to outspeed that thing. And yeah, I think that's what we got to do. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Oscar. So they lead off with Shiny Boy, the Indeedee, nice and shiny. We lead off with the Iron Leaves. Did I say Iron Leaves in the team preview? I meant Verizon. I just get mixed up. Like. So anyway, Indeedee's in. We don't want to stay in against Indeedee. We definitely go into Mandibuzz real quick. They may predict this and go into the Arcanine. If they do, that's a good play on my opponent's behalf and very well deserved of the KO. So we withdraw our Verizon real quick. And we're going to go into Mandibuzz as well, which is going to be a great Expanding Force Sponger, as they do in fact go for the Expanding Force, which is fantastic. Now, looking at their team, they don't have much for Arcanine either, so I think Hisui and Arcanine is going to be the go-to play, to be honest with you. So let's go for a knockoff real quick. So they withdraw. What are they going to go into? Are they going to go into the Arcanine or Tinkaton? Gregory. What's Gregory? The Arcanine, sweet. We get a knockoff off on the Arcanine, which is fantastic, getting rid of that potential Choice Band. They have Expert Belt. Well, they had Expert Belt. Head Smash is definitely coming our way, though, so we've got to be extremely careful. I am leaning towards the Goodra switch so we can get that Gooey. I don't think Goodra's going to be too useful this game, other than walling that Greninja. And I guess the Indeedee and the Meloetta, if the Meloetta is special, that is, because it could be Relic Song, you never know. So what's my switch in here? I'd say if they're going to go for a Head Smash or a Stone Edge, we go into the Iron Crown, but then we're going to lose our booster energy. So I'm like, we are physically defensive. We could just U-turn. I think I'll U-turn. So they go for a Head Smash. We should be able to take one of these. Yeah, we can take one, no problem. Go for a U-turn, get a free switch in with something else. And I think what I'm going to have to go into is going to be the Verizon. And we got a crit on the U-turn as well. Nice. Absolutely nice that is. Mandibuzz is so bulky as well. I can't believe how well it took that. So, we could go into Indeedee. I'm pretty sure I am going to go into Indeedee, because Indeedee does in fact outspeed Arcanine, which is interesting. You wouldn't expect it, would you? Looking at it. Only the male Indeedee does. The female doesn't. So I'm going to go for an Expanding Force real quick. They may not realize that we outspeed, but they do. Okay, that's good. Good to know my opponent knows what they're doing a bit. Celeste is going to come in. That's the Meloetta, right? Yep, the Meloetta comes in. We go for an Expanding Force. It's going to sting a little bit, do a bit of chip damage. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And then they... Oh, what have they got? A Roat Berry. I have never seen that item in my life, but it damaged my Indeedee. That is interesting. So let's go Mandibuzz once again. And Mandibuzz is basically just going to go for a Roost at this point. I'm assuming they go for an Expanding Force or something. I don't actually know what this Meloetta is going to go for. I'm just going into Mandibuzz and hoping and praying that it's the right thing to do. I guess they could have gone... Yeah, they go Psychic. Oh, so they're not Expanding Force. That's good. My opponent did kind of just throw this team together, so just be wary of that. So I'm going to go for a knockoff now because I don't see any reason not to. They actually are Relic Song, which could put us to sleep, but if it didn't KO us. So that's going to change their form into their Pirouette form, which is extremely interesting. Meloetta is such a cool Pokemon. Like, I want to try that out, that Relic Song one, but I don't know what to do. So if we assume they are not... I think Goodra is the way to go here. I think Goodra is the way to go because it looks like they are special. They just have Relic Song just because... because they have Psychic, so I'm guessing that. I'm guessing at this point. If we assume they're going to switch out into Tinkaton, we should go for a Fire Blast. So I'm going to go for a Fire Blast. I'm just predicting the Tinkaton. They go for a Relic Song again, changing themselves back into their whatever the Meloetta's form's called when it's not in Pirouette form. Is it going to put us to sleep? It doesn't. We go for a Fire Blast though. I was really expecting the Tinkaton to come in, to be honest with you, but now I'm going to go for a Draco Meteor because I'm pretty confident they won't go into Tinkaton after they've just seen us spam a Fire Blast at them. So they do withdraw the Meloetta this time. What are they going to go into, though? Gregory. That is the Arcanine, right? Yeah, the Arcanine comes in to take a Fire Blast. We end up going for a Draco Meteor, catching the Arcanine on the switch, which is fantastic, as Arcanine is going to go down, which is great. That's one less Pokemon to deal with. Shiny Boy comes in. What's that? Oh, it's the Indeedee. Yeah, I forgot. So he gets the Psychic Terrain up. And the only downside is this thing doesn't seem to have a Terrain Extender. So even though I kind of take advantage of the Psychic Terrain if I want to, it's not going to work out that way. So here's the other problem we've got. I don't have anything to switch into this. Draco Meteor might do a bit more damage, so I'm going to go for the Draco once again. There you go for a Dazzling Gleam, though. That's going to sting a little bit, but not too much. As Draco Meteor misses. That's annoying. I know Indeedee's not like super bulky or anything. So I'm going to go for another Draco Meteor. They go for another Dazzling Gleam. I'm guessing they don't want to go for Expanding Force for some reason, but I think Expanding Force in Psychic Terrain does more than Dazzling Gleam does, even though it's super effective. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. If they're going to go for a Dazzling Gleam, though, then I'm definitely going to switch out into Arcanine, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I know Indeedee outspeeds Arcanine, I am aware. But this is just so I can pivot around a bit. So I want to come into this on the Dazzling Gleam. There we go. And then we can assume they're going to go for either a switch out into something else. They don't really have anything to switch in. Or they're going to go for Expanding Force. And if they go for Expanding Force, I can bring in my Iron Crown. Which is the plan because I 4 times resist it. So I can bring it in, go for a Tachyon Cutter. I don't think I need booster energy to get this game. I think as long as I keep Goodra around, Greninja's not a problem. So I am going to go Iron Crown real quick now on the Expanding Force, but they do withdraw. What are they going to go into? Freddy the Paldea Champion. Who's Freddy? That's the Skeledirge. That was an interesting switch. So it's not a bad switch for us because it means we can go for an Expanding Force. I'd rather not Terra Psychic for the extra damage. I'd rather go for something else. So we're going to get that booster energy, which is going to boost our speed. And then we go for Expanding Force the next turn, right? I think we do, yeah. Let's go for it. Let's go for the Expanding Force. Let's see how this plays out. So they do withdraw the Skeledirge. What are they going to bring in to take an Expanding Force, though? Celeste. That's the Meloetta, right? Yeah, the Meloetta comes in. We go for an Expanding Force. It should do a bit of chip damage. Yeah, a bit of damage, not too bad. The weirdness does disappear, though, which is unfortunate. But I'm sure they'll set that back up again with their own. I'm going to go for a Tachyon Cutter now. I think Tachyon Cutter is a perfect move to go for here. As down goes the Meloetta, right? Yeah, there we go. Hits 2 times, so down it goes. Brilliant. So Meloetta out of the way. We've got Indeedee, Skeledirge, Tinkaton, and Greninja to deal with. Freddy comes back in. That's the Skeledirge, right? Yeah, so Skeledirge is in. We definitely switch out here. If we assume they're going to go for a Torch Song or a Will-O-Wisp, then we go into Arcanine. That way we can fire off a super effective Head Smash, which should KO the Skeledirge. Unless they Terra, but even then it's still going to do a lot of damage. They do go for a Torch Song, which is 4 times resisted, so it's going to bounce right off us. Does give them a special attack boost. And they are not Throat Spray, which is good to know. Let's go for a Head Smash real quick. This should definitely destroy the Skeledirge. I don't think they have a good switching, really. So they're going to Terra. So they Terra. What type are they going to Terra the Skeledirge into? Is it going to be Fairy? I'd say Fairy, right? Water. Please don't be Terra Blast. I was not expecting Terra Water Skeledirge. That's interesting. So let's see how this plays out. So we don't miss the Head Smash, which is great. Oh, wow. Was that a crit? Was that actually not a crit? That's some damage right there. That is some damage right there. Choice Banded Arcanine-Hisui has no switch-ins, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely zero. Absolutely zero. I don't even think Tinkaton would have. Tinkaton would have been 2-hit KO by that. Christ. Anyway. We want a free switch into Goodra, right? I don't think we don't need Indeedee anymore. We definitely don't need Indeedee anymore, so I'm happy to sack it off to whatever this Greninja wants to go for. I definitely want to keep Hisui and Arcanine around because Flare Blitz will destroy that Tinkaton. So I'm going to bring Indeedee in once again. Get that Psychic Surge off, which will block any Water Shurikens this thing may have if it has Water Shuriken. They do go for a Dark Pulse on the switch. Good play by my opponent. And they are not Protean, which means they are Battle Bond. As there we go. They're going to get that boost, which is really unfortunate for us. But they made the right play by predicting that. I just couldn't risk them going for an Ice Beam on the switching into Goodra because it will two-shot me from here. It may even one-shot me from here now that they've had the boost, but it depends what items they've got. They haven't got Life Orb. They may be Choice Specs for all we know. But because this Greninja is such a threat right now, I can't predict the Tinkaton and go for a Fire Blast. I'm going to have to go for a Draco Meteor. They do go for a Dark Pulse. They're not switching out because of the boost. They may flinch me. Well, they don't flinch me. They are Life Orb, though. I think I already saw Life Orb. Never mind. I said I didn't know what item it was. It could be Choice Specs, but no, they are Life Orb. So I'm assuming they didn't have Ice Beam, or they just wanted the stab of Dark Pulse, or even the chance to flinch it, maybe. That might be it. Tina comes in. That's got to be the Tinkaton. Tina the Tinkaton. I like that nickname. That's cool. So, do we need Goodra for anything else? Not really. Let's go for a Fire Blast just on the off chance. They go for a Swords Dance. They go for a Sword Dance. We go for a Fire Blast, though. That's going to sting. Even with a special attack drop that we got, it's still going to sting. Let's go for a Fire Blast once again. They have to go for a Gigaton Hammer here. And if they go for Gigaton Hammer, they can't use it again the next turn, which means we can bring Arcanine in. And even though Tinkaton might outspeed Arcanine, they haven't really got a move to hit us with. So they go for the Stone Edge. Those crafty sods. Do they not have Play Rough? I just realized they could have just gone for a Play Rough and not the Gigaton Hammer. Right, what's my Pokemon of choice to deal with this? I'd say Arcanine's probably the best bet. I need to check, actually. So our best Pokemon switch into this Tinkaton, provided it doesn't have knockoff, and if we assume it's got 2 stab, Gigaton Hammer and Play Rough, and we know it has Stone Edge, this is our best switching because it outspeeds Arcanine. And we can't go for extreme speed to weaken it either for the Iron Crown because of the Psychic Terrain. So we go for a Tachyon Cutter here. Basically the best thing we can do because it's neutral. Nearly takes them out. The fact that we outsped as well is interesting. So they go for a Gigaton Hammer, which is going to do half. We outsped, which is interesting. So we don't normally outspeed. I'm going to go for a Tachyon Cutter anyway. I'm guessing they're not max speed. They must be bulk invested with Swords Dance, which is fair enough. And that means the Arcanine probably would have outsped because Arcanine outspeeds Iron Crown. So, you know, panic averted. But Iron Crown coming through once again. In comes Shiny Boy, the Indeedee. Nice and shiny. This thing can probably take us out with an expanding force, I guess. But I'm going to go for the Tachyon Cutter anyway. We probably get outsped. We actually outspeed, which is interesting. Tachyon Cutter isn't going to be enough to KO an Indeedee. But we definitely get some damage off, at least. As a Shadow Ball comes through. Wasn't expecting Shadow Ball. and that takes out Iron Crown. So I'm leaning towards the Expanding Force, the Psychic Terrain running out this turn. But I know Virizion outspeeds, so I may as well just go into Virizion real quick. There we go. Real Leaves comes in. We go for a Leaf Blade, and that should finish the game, as there we go. So GG Oscar, that was a pretty fun one. It came right down to it in the end. Some interesting plays on both sides. Really fun couple of battles that we just had. I am only doing 2 battles this video because the free battle thing, well, didn't do better than I thought it would. It was just kind of too long, I think the video was. So 2 battles is my maximum I'm going to be doing per video. But yeah, thank you very much for that battle, Oscar. That was a really fun one, GG. But anyway, here is the team. Try it out if you want to use the code at the top right corner of the screen. If you do try it out, let me know in the comments section how it went. I'm interested to see how it goes for all of you. And with that being said, I'll see you all in a bit.